Hello, friends. It is I, the GM Philosopher. Welcome back to GM Philosophy in the Morning. I have some stuff to talk to you about today. We got to have a real conversation here, friends, about criticism at the game table. And to be honest, this really could relate to criticism in life as a whole, but because this channel is committed to the goal of empowering game masters to run better games, we're going to keep it confined to the game table. But, if you are running games as a game master, there is no doubt that you face criticism. You probably have players who criticize at least a little bit. It is pretty rare that a game master runs a table of people who are always 100% supportive and they praise your great work. They thank you, they express gratitude. Usually there are a few grumblers at least. Usually there are a few people who at the very least don't express gratitude. Maybe they express frustration. Maybe they seem unhappy with what you're doing. Maybe they criticize you. Okay, listen to me right now. There's a couple things you need to know about this. Number one, here's the thing about criticism. There's always a little bit of helpful truth in criticism. Always. There's always a little bit of helpful truth. With that being said, there are often situations where 70, 80, maybe 85% of criticism is kind of just noise, unless you're really actually bad at what you're doing, okay? And it also depends on the quality of the advice you're getting in the criticism department. So in other words, if you're getting criticism from someone who is really, really good, then it's more reason to stop and take notice than if you were getting criticism from someone who very obviously doesn't really know what they're talking about. But even the people who don't know what they're talking about, there's probably a small bit of truth in their criticism as well. So this leads us to a couple different truths. Number one, we should be open as game masters to receiving criticism. That's number one. Number two, as game masters, we should understand that we shouldn't take it personally in the sense that we have an emotional reaction to it. We should just incorporate it as data. It's just that simple. It's not something we should get mad about. It's not something we should get defensive about. It's just a thing. It's just more data, okay? Just like when you observed your players at the table, just like when your players requested this or that or this or that, just like at session 0 when you gathered information, this is just more data, okay? Now, as humans, we generally err on the side of thinking that either we are way better than we are or thinking that we are way worse than we are. It seems like it's hard for humans to just appreciate that they're probably 85 or 92% good at a thing, and then they could use improvement, but they're actually not terrible. That seems actually difficult for humans. A lot of humans seem to think that they're either really terrible at a thing and they criticize themselves and they get down on themselves, or they tend to be overconfident, okay? But the truth is, you are probably mostly good at running games, and then you could use a little bit of improvement. This is true of almost all of us, okay? And then when you listen to your players' criticisms, it's important to listen for the things that really resonate and trying to identify the places where you can improve, and then separate that from kind of needless worrying stuff, okay? Now there's a real question. How do you do that? This is actually a lot more difficult than you might think, and I don't have a straight 100% foolproof answer for you. One of the best ways to determine if a player character's criticisms are valid or legitimate, and that if you should listen to them, is if they, resonate with you. There's a part of us that when we receive criticism deep down inside, we are offered a chance to accept it, right? And we know it's true. I really believe this. I believe in my own experiences that this is the case. With that being said, there is also a part of us that wants to get defensive about it. We don't want to accept that we have shortcomings, because that would be admitting that we're not as good as we hoped we were. We want to be good at things. We want to succeed at things. We want people to think we're good at things, okay? And when we hear criticism and then we react defensively, emotionally, we close off that intuitive part of ourselves that knows that the criticism is true. I believe and this is just my opinion, let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with me. I believe that if we can shut that down, the defensive part, and we can just listen to the criticism, we're going to hear two things. We're going to hear two things very clearly. If we let ourselves be open to criticism and we understand that whenever someone delivers criticism, they're going to be 15% right about it, and we need to find that 15%, and then we need to change and evolve and improve, then two things are going to happen. Number one, when they talk, we are immediately going to lock onto the things that are actually true, that we should change and improve, that they are right about. And this is actually hard to hear, but it's very good. And then secondly, if we are actually open to hearing those things and open to bringing those things into ourselves and into our game mastering and into our gaming, and we're willing to improve them, and we're willing to be humble enough to say, I don't know it all. I want to get better. I don't need to entertain criticism that isn't valid, because I'm also confident and I want to be rational about this, but I am super willing to embrace criticism that is valid. Okay. Then we're also going to be able to pick up on the 85% of the criticism that is actually not valid, that may be just the player kind of saying things, feeling a certain type of way about things. This happens. It's also possible that one player's experience may mirror some things about that player that other players do not necessarily agree with. And the truth is, if you tried to take every single bit of criticism from every single player and you try to change your gaming to accommodate all of it, you're probably going to end up worse off. Because the truth is, where one player might have an issue with the way you do things, there might be 10 players who love the way you do that thing. And this is the truth. I'm telling you right now, this is God's honest truth, that this is the way it is. This is how it is in life, not just with gaming. And I'm going to be honest with you. Every single day, people try to tell me about YouTube, okay? But here's the thing. A lot of times, when people try to tell me things about YouTube, like I get comments, they're like, GM Philosopher, you don't need to wear sunglasses. Those sunglasses aren't doing what you think they're doing. Blah, 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 right? I get a lot of these kinds of comments, and I get comments about different things about my videos. I get comments about my thumbnails. I get comments about this or that. I actually don't get as many comments about thumbnails as I used to, but here's the truth. The truth of it is there's about 15% of these criticisms that are very valid, that I want to be open to, listening to become better. But here's also another thing, and I have learned this because I've done it, is that if you listen to all the criticism and you try to please everyone, you are going to fall flat on your face and everything's going to be a disaster. Because the truth is, that is just chaos. That's chaos ruling your creative pursuit. You can't let chaos become your boss, become your master. This is true in YouTube. This is true in life. This is true at the game table. You cannot let chaos come in and rule your life. You have to be discerning about what pieces of criticism you're going to actually let into your psyche, and which ones you're going to say, okay, you're just saying some stuff right now that isn't necessarily valid. And the truth is that the vast majority of people probably do not harbor your feelings. They're a reflection of some kind of personal thing going on with you, not really a reflection of my actual aptitude at whatever it is I'm doing. And in this case, game mastering. Okay. So this is my piece of advice to you today. Take criticism with, an openness. Try to shut down that defensiveness that will deploy itself when you first hear the criticism, and try instead to think to yourself, okay, 15% of this is going to be valid. There's going to be something to learn here. But then 85% of it might just be people talking. And if I were to follow all of that advice, I might actually become worse off. So what I have to do is I have to be discerning. I have to be humble, and I have to be wise in discerning this for myself, right? So, and I want you to have the confidence to navigate that. And there's also a learning process to that. You may hear someone say something, and you may think, oh, that's legit. I need to deploy that. And then you may realize 3 months later, that was bad advice. Every time I've taken that advice in game, it has created bad moments. This is true. This is going to happen. And that does not make you a bad person. But when those things happen, you're also probably going to look back and you're going to realize, You know what? I had a feeling that was going to happen. I knew it. Because you do. There's something about it. Our intuition is better than we give it credit for. And there's a gut instinct to this that if we listen to it all the time, we'd probably be better off, but we're not going to do that. And I'm telling you this from experience. I know I'm probably in the top 20th percentile of humans who listen to their gut instincts, and I still get this wrong all the time because we do doubt ourselves, and we do sometimes question our own aptitude at identifying legitimate areas where we need improvement, and we mix that up with things that we're probably really doing well, but that just cause a little what I would call par for the course friction. Okay, so boom, that's what I have to say about that. Drop a comment, let me know what you think. I've got links to all kinds of cool stuff in the comments. Sign up for my free ebook, buy my premium ebook, join my Discord, be awesome, and come be awesome with us. Empowering game masters to run better games is the goal here at GM Philosophy. That's what I want for you. So join the mission by subscribing, hitting that thumbs up button. Thank you so much for coming back for this kind of raw and just off the cuff video. I just thought about this and wanted to film this. So boom, see you awesome people on the next one.